The government announced that it will consider all proposals to boost the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission's MACC's effectiveness, including placing it under Parliament's purview. Sudhagaran Stanley, Deputy CEO of Centre to Combat Corruption and Cronyism, C4 Centre, said immediate reforms are needed to improve public trust towards the anti-graft agency.
The MACC is in serious trouble. They have a low perception of trust within public and Malaysians at large. And there's a serious issue that we need to deal with. So this is why I think the first thing, even when we talk about reforms, initiating reforms to the MACC, we have been calling for a true investigation into all the claims that were actually made by politicians from the opposition at that time to investigate whether really the MACC was being used as a political tool at that point of time, come out with the findings, investigate Azam, his share trading issue, come out with the findings, and while all of this is going to also appoint a new commissioner via a parliamentary process, and that's what they're calling for, right? And then once we have come out with this entire reasoning, we've come out with all the findings of the investigation, then we can move towards actually moving forward to meaningful reforms towards the MACC, in which one of it is the idea behind this is one is to call for the placement of MACC in Parliament.
To avoid any abuse of power, Stanley stressed the need of a clear guideline on Parliament's involvement.
We need to look in detail as to the powers of Parliament, right? For example, do we want to give powers to Parliament to actually stop an investigation or ask them to initiate an investigation? So these are things that we need to look at, right? So for example, we cannot give the powers to Parliament to actually stop an investigation. So the Commission itself should be free to investigate anyone, but probably they only come into Parliament to give a report on what are the issues, for example, or what the findings are. So all those little things need to be looked into further detail. But the idea here is to ensure that the Commission is able to perform without any interference, freely of political interferences. And as it is right now, it is not in the way that it should be, because clearly there's a lot of room for actually political interference, especially when the Prime Minister has the power to appoint, and especially when the Commission is actually under the Prime Minister's department.
Stanley emphasised that the first step towards reforming the MACC should be appointing a new Chief Commissioner via parliamentary process.
Immediately remove Azam from his posting and to appoint a new Chief Commissioner via a parliamentary select process. This can be done immediately. This can be done even without going through any amendments to the Constitution or to a law and so on, right? Because the Prime Minister has the power to do that. The select committees that are actually being formed now, especially the one on anti-corruption and governance and human rights, this particular parliamentary select committee can actually decide, okay, let's, for example, choose who the commissioner is, run the entire process of interview and choosing the candidates, and let's get a two-third vote in Parliament to actually get this person appointed and let the new person take on the job. That itself, this first action itself will help bring back some sort of credibility towards the MACC.